Hello. Um, yeah, so I'm guessing most of you from my Facebook, so as you know, we'll be doing a bit more work on the lineup. Um, we've obviously lost quite a bit of likeness in the process of doing retopology and a few little tweaks since then. So yeah, we'll be checking the lineups, making sure they're working. I know from just fiddling about pre-stream that they're not. Um, so we'll do that, and then we'll work a bit more on the likeness. At the moment, we got two lineups that are like somewhat working, so we'll focus on those two. Luckily, it's front and side, um, so we'll kind of focus on those, get those working the way we want them to, and then once that's done, um, we can start lining up other cameras because we'll have like landmarks. Because at this point, we don't have any landmarks that we know are correct, so that makes it really difficult to line up other cameras. Um, it's because we don't have information as how high the cameras were. You know, she wasn't standing still, that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm going to go back into Maya. So this is a current model. Obviously, that's a bit weird at the moment. So something I've made is a mistake. So I assumed that I needed to bring the eye forward quite a lot to match this. However, what I didn't realize is when I was kind of mapping out what I wanted, I didn't check the other side. So I didn't like grab the eye on the other side and put it forward. So obviously now that it's symmetrical, we've realized actually this is like way too far forward. Since it's matching this eye, but obviously this one's way off, that means that we need to rotate the body, which really looking at the collarbones, we should have been able to tell that. So the camera from this angle just needs to tweak backwards a little bit. I hate shadow play. But yeah, so let's just. Why is that not the center? So let's line that up like that. I think that's too much. Let's go a little bit more that way. That's exactly where it was. I'll use the tip as the tip of the nose as like the main reference. I feel like I need to tilt it more that way as well. That looks like it might be somewhat correct. All I'm doing at the moment is just tapping H to kind of hide and unhide the group that the sculpt is in. Okay, and let's check. I've got the old model as well. I'm wondering if that's better for the eyes. It doesn't look like it is. So we can get rid of that. So I think when we pull the eyes back to match this side, we should kind of lose them on that side, which is what we want. It looks like we need to pull the brows forward as well. And the mouth needs to be pulled back at this point. Also, we need to make the nostril rounder, and the chin needs pulling up quite a lot. I'm not trusting the neck in this reference, just because the neck is just so long in this image, and it's way longer than every other image of her. So like this image, for example, if we go into the 2D pan zoom, so something like that, and we just show this. The neck's roughly the right length. Like obviously it needs tilting to the left, but that's just because her head is leaning in the image, and I want to line up the head, not everything else. So the neck is roughly the right length. At least it looks like it should fit if we pose the model. Whereas this, it's not even close. So I've got a feeling either she was intentionally kind of reaching up with her neck, or dropping her shoulders and all that sort of stuff, because the collarbones aren't that far off. But like, it just doesn't feel like it's correct. I feel like the neck has been modified in some way, or she's just posed like really straight. We can try to match it, but I don't think it will work particularly well. Obviously, we can also pull in from the side. Like, I don't necessarily doubt the thickness of the neck, so we can adjust that. And luckily, we're matching the top of the head relatively well. We need to pull this highest point down. But yeah, so we got the model. So that's the model that we currently got in ZBrush. So we can adjust that in there. Where's the button? There it is. So what I might do, just to kind of speed up the matching process, I might match it in Maya. Just by literally soft modding it, and then kind of take that in as a reference mesh to ZBrush. So I'm going to turn on selection highlighting. And let's turn on world symmetry as well. Just so I'm affecting both sides equally. Nope, that's not what I want. This has the ear matching a bit closer. The bottom of the ear is not there, but I'm not worried about that yet. I want to get kind of the landmark set up first. Jaw's in the right place. Roughly, here anyway. So let's pull up the chin. That's not what I want. Something like that. And let's go in and adjust the eyes as well. Do I have a loop that goes around? There we go. Now let's pull the bottom of the ear back just a little bit. Eye socket could go deeper. Yeah, you're probably right on that. I might match that in ZBrush sculpting. I think the bridge of the nose needs to be brought forward a fair bit. And the forehead obviously needs to be brought way forward. Let's soft slide that a bit more. Have you there. And lips way off. Let's grab this bit. Kind of pull that backwards. That's a bit better. So how does it look in 3D? That looks more healthy. So let's grab this mesh. Freeze transformations on it. Modify freeze transformations. And obviously it's a bit bumpy now because we just pulled things around with soft select without really refining them. So let's export that as an OBJ. I'm going to put this in here as temp, just because it's a template geo. I don't know if this is the method they use in actual modeling departments. I imagine it's not, to be honest, but let's append a sphere. Also, thanks for dropping by the stream, Eugene. I do like your work quite a lot. It's nice to see like really strong artists like dropping by every now and then. Cool. So this is our template geo, which we want pretty much nothing to do with other than just matching the places that we moved. So let's get you, go down to low res. Let's just generally kind of pull things. Come on, there we go. That looks alright. But yeah, I feel like just because I don't really trust my camera lineup skills, I feel like I'm gonna push forward as far as I can, like with basic like landmarks. But then at some point, I'm just gonna trust like my eye and ZBrush instead, because I don't really trust my lineups, to be honest. I think they're a bit off. And did I move the eye back? I did, didn't I? Let's hide the eyes. Yeah, I moved them back quite a lot. So let's just grab that. Just because I feel like my soft select radius wasn't really right. I guess it would have been quicker for me to go through and like fix the issues rather than do this, but there we go. So let's just get that brow back in. Cool. Hide you. The mouth was one of the other notes. So let's check the mouth is a very strange shape at the moment. Yeah, no, if you import it in with subdiv level 1, it kind of transfers the details, right? Although one thing, I don't know if it would affect it, it's definitely worth me testing at some point, is when I bring in this model, for whatever reason, it says there's an engon somewhere in the model. So I don't know where that engon is, though, because I did a mesh cleanup in Maya to select any four-sided face, and then obviously invert that, and it doesn't find anything. Let's save over this. Yeah, so Eugene, I just got your message on Facebook. There's like a 20-second delay. And here is a delay. There we go. I just check my stream. Yeah, it looks like it's working in my stream. One second. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, so I was saying how the reason I didn't bring in the mesh is just because I don't entirely trust kind of the soft select I was doing. I don't think it was that good. So I guess it would have been quicker just for me to, adjust the model, fix the soft select issues rather than re-sculpt it. But so I'll import it on future kind of updates. A quick question though, maybe you might know this. So whenever I import this model on subdiv level 1, it says it finds some, what's the word I'm looking for? Find some engons, even though when I run a mesh cleanup in Maya to select four-sided faces and invert the selection, it doesn't find any triangles, engons, it doesn't find anything. But ZBrush is like dead set on there being engons. I'm not entirely sure why. I need to get my ref as well. So let's just get pure ref. Load recent. Just gonna spend a little bit of time on the mouth. Let's make the eyes visible. Yeah, I don't know if the I'll test it on the next one, but I don't know if the it finding n-gons that aren't there would affect the transfer of details. If it does, then it just means I'm gonna have to like keep projecting it every time, which is a bit annoying. But you know, I mean, if that's what I need to do, then so be it. Yeah, ZBrush is super weird. I don't always like it that much. I love sculpting in it, but sometimes the technical stuff just gets like really confused. I feel like depth of my eyelids. I'm going to model the depth, as in like the depth of this little crease. I'm going to model that in Maya. Although I could just do this without mask. I feel like it'd be easier to do in Maya, cleaner to do in Maya at least. And then obviously at some point I need to make a eyes closed blend shape. I also need to model a caruncle, which I'm aware normally is modeled in as one mesh. I'm going to do it as its own mesh just for simplicity. Same with the teeth. I'm gonna do them as like, well, not teeth, but are you British? Yes, I am. How can you tell? Yeah, I was born in Manchester, so where is it? So there's a bit of a bag below the eye that I currently don't have. Let's turn off this as well. The mouth is going to be really difficult, I think, to stop it from feeling too by your accent for sure. Yeah. Although my accent isn't really the same as where I'm from. Like occasionally, I'll have a Mancunian accent. That's the name of the accents from Manchester. Occasionally, it'll sneak in, but most of the time, I sound nothing like where I'm from. It's super weird. These eyelids need to be thicker. Again, I might do that in Maya, just soft select some stuff. Do you plan on taking it into Maya for rendering? Oh yeah, definitely. I'm still not decided on if I want to use not ZBrush. If I want to use RenderMan or Arnold. I'm normally more of a RenderMan person, but you know, Arnold is solid, and having recently bought like a full license of Maya, I kind of want to get the most out of it by using everything it has. So I'll probably learn a bit of Bifrost and all that sort of stuff at some point, just to get use of the stuff I'm paying for. This needs to be a bit further pronounced. Maybe not that pronounced though. Let's soften that in a little bit. The brows need a bit of fixing as well. I'm also going to start adding a bit more texture now, because what I mean by texture is like the I'm going to keep some of the brush artifacts just for now, just because I believe they kind of make it look more interesting form-wise, that it's not too flat. Obviously, like, skin isn't perfect. Granted, your skin doesn't have clay brush artifacts in it. Like, there's kind of, that'd be stupid if they did, but it's something I kind of want to work in a little bit. This mouth is still really bugging me. What's it doing? Camera's getting confused. Oh man, you're going 2D. Yep. Well, I was. I'm a generalist now, but I've spent pretty much my entire career being a groom artist.
I need to do some work, but I don't want to get up.
You need to do what we don't want to get up. Let's get up. Just do it. What, sorry? You want to make a cup of tea? No tea is the biggest of the blights faced by humanity right now. to get this transition working as well. I plan to switch to modelling. To be honest, I've always wanted to be a modeler. Modelling and look dev were my two main areas. This is a story I've told a few times in earlier streams. So if anyone's like reoccurring, there's normally like 3 or 4 people that tend to come back. They'll probably be sick of the story, but yeah, I ended up in Groom completely by accident. I happened to make some Groom. I did a couple of Grooms here or there as a student, and this is around the time that Lion King was picking up, and obviously Lion King caused a bit of a hiring rush for the industry, at least for NPC. And around that same time, I had written a beginner's guide to grooming. I made the beginner's guide to grooming tutorial. So that kind of got me a bit of attention from the grooming community, which was a lot smaller, even though it was only 3 years ago. Like, it was a lot smaller then. So I kind of ended up getting approached by NPC, and ended up working for them. My first job was a groom TD. I didn't work on Lion King right away, but yeah, I got to have quite a lot of fun. But I never actually intended on being groom. Like, I never applied to the job. I was very, very fortunate coming out of university. It's something I'm very thankful for. And to be fair, I do love groom. Like, it's something that I found like a lot of love for. It's just not what I intended on going into. I always wanted to go into modeling. Was the first one where I really wanted to get into. It's why I was so keen. Like, when I was given the chance to be a generalist at NPC, I was just like, yes, because I get to do little bits of digital work and all that sort of stuff. I need to learn the anatomy of the chin, because I'm not sure how the bony landmark should be in this area. Lips I'm gonna leave alone a little bit, because this top section is not working, and I don't understand the forms right now. I've got a feeling it needs to be sharper, like that. But then this is too round. Is it like a flat? That feels wrong as well. Although it feels less wrong, which is normally a sign of progress. If it feels less wrong than it did before. Let's test with the textures. Well, NPC generalists can kind of do anything. Like, I work in episodic, which is brand new, so there's really not much. I can't really talk about anything, to be honest. None of the projects are public.
Redacted.
Yeah, every comment I could possibly make would have to be immediately redacted, so I'm not going to talk about my work. I can talk a little bit about like what I did in film when I was in Groom, but I can't really talk about anything I'm doing at the moment, just because it's such a new department. Like, literally, the department was only when was it made public that the department even exists?
Whenever I was in NPC.
Yeah, so like.
I think it was like the week before the 20th.
Yeah, so like around December is when it became official that NPC is even doing episodic work. So, I don't think there's any projects announced, right? Yeah. So I'm not going to talk about any of the work I've done. But yeah, I mean, generalists at any studio kind of get to do a bit of anything, I guess, which is kind of cool. And it's something like, I mean, I do enjoy being a generalist. Like, as I said, like modeling and look dev are the 2 areas I loved, but I do love texturing. I do love comp. Lighting is quite cool as well. I do enjoy the whole process, so I kind of want to. I'm looking forward to getting to really do that, like dig into doing a bit of everything. It sounds like a lot of fun to me. Should I model the Cronk in ZBrush? You really love that word,
A
don't you?
little bit in the eye.
Yeah, that little fleshy bit there.
Tear duct, basically.
No, tear duct is the whole kind of thing. There's actually a little gap on the outer side, so if I go here, in the eyelid, there's like a tiny little gap there. You can kind of see it in this ref. That's where quite a bit of tear comes from. And then there's obviously some stuff comes from here as well, but it primarily comes out here first.
So the crumble.
Which is why when you cry, it normally drops here, and then drops down. It's because that's like kind of a gap. I don't know if it tears specifically come from there, but I know that it's one of the main areas.
you give her eyeliner?
I did give her eyeliner because in one of the references she had eyeliner, and I was matching to that for a while. I need to redraw the eyebrows at some point. I think that your skill combo is really cool. Would you be interested in a position in Montreal? Yeah, I mean, I actually did work in Montreal. I worked out there for Mill Film for for a month. That was quite cool.
If they hire me as a coffee maker as well.
Yeah, if there's a way for
there.
if there's a way, yeah, for me and my girlfriend to come over, then I think we probably would, to be honest. Although NPC treat me very well at the moment. I do like NPC quite a lot. This isn't UV'd yet, so I don't need to worry about pinching. I really want to redraw the eyebrows, but it's such a waste of time because I won't be using the texture later. Let's add a little bit of flesh there. There we go. That's done something for it. Becca is the voice in the background, yeah. Since you're new to the stream, Eugene, I don't think we've ever spoke before. I know I've had you on Facebook for probably a couple of years at this point. But yeah, Becca in the background, that's my girlfriend. She also works in the industry. She's a look dev artist at Blue Zoo in London. They do like primarily animation, children's TV kind of stuff.
Yes. Sorry. I have headphones in. I'm not listening to anything. I don't know why I have your thing.
You never listen to me anyway. It's cool. I understand.
do the animation industry. You?
Animation's another industry I've debated quite a few times.
That's probably one of the most secure currently.
Yeah, exactly. That's not the only reason too, though. I might be looking for artists for Montreal company. We'll contact you later. Cool. Yeah, I'm completely happy to chat.
I make really bad tea.
Yeah, Becca makes tea milk first. So if you want someone who makes tea the incorrect way, then she's a fantastic hire. She's also a great look dev artist, to be fair. She has an eye that I am very envious of. She is a babu. She's very new to CG, but she has an eye that I'm very jealous of. So credit where it's due.
Another kind of backlash thing I've noticed in like the last 24 hours are people
That's way too
responding to
pinchy.
the rent prices in London.
Oh yeah, rent in London's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I'm part of like it's like a London rent group. Whenever we started looking for this place, I was like, I joined it because people post stuff, you know, instead of spare room. And it's so funny because people are like posting like, oh, this room and it's like £800 and it's like, you know, zone 4, and people are like, oh, where's the rest of the room? Nice wardrobe. You know, it's crazy. The comments are hilarious.
It's like, I've always wanted to be in Harry Potter.
It is like that though. I love it so much.
This line here is way too much. Let's pull that back a little bit. Let's also drop a few resolutions. I need to pull that back. That's feeling a bit better. I'm hoping that this stream will make a lot of progress for like the likeness. That bottom lip is going to bother me for so long. Also, something I really need to figure out, which is going to haunt me, is how the fuck do I make it feel soft? How do I make it feel like it's blending? Like, is that purely subsurface, or am I going to have to like match the mesh so that the normals blend nicely? Because obviously, like, there is an element of like sticky lips, which is a huge part of it. I'm going to have to do some masking for that. But I've got a feeling getting that to read in the renders is going to be a nightmare. Let's check some other references. Still not 100% happy on the eye position. She feels like what's that actor called? Fuck, what's his name?
He played 12 Years a Slave, the main character in 12 Years a Slave. What's his name?
Her eyes feel a lot like his at the moment.
Yes.
Like they're really far forward. As far as I remember, he's got a really hard to pronounce name.
Oh god, I know I think I pronounce it such a picture. It looks more complicated than it probably is.
Oh yeah, it's probably one of those names that you pronounce
The
as
gentleman or the female lead?
the male lead.
What do you call Solomon?
Yeah, the character's name is Solomon.
Lupita is the female, I mean,
But yeah, like whoever that actor is, I'm sure like if I say 12 Years a Slave, a few people will recognise kind of in their head like who he is. But yeah, like he's got really forward eyes, and I feel like my sculpt has an element of that which isn't in the ref. Like her eyes are naturally like I feel like they are relatively far forward, but nowhere near as much as I've got. Oh, left click. There we go.
Gonna finish my tea.
Oh, my left click keeps getting stuck.
I love the
I need some pliers to pull the nib out because I don't have the housing for the nibs anymore on my Wacom pen, which means that every time my nib gets stuck, I can't just like ram it into that little.
Is there not nibs inside it?
They're in the stand, not in the pen.
Are they on the pen?
No, they're in the. Well, there's a nib in the pen, but you have the spare ones in the stand, and the stand has a nib remover.
Oh, mine has.
But I don't have the stand.
Where did you put it?
I think I left it in Bournemouth.
Michael.
Yeah. And that was 3 years ago, so I think a student has probably graduated with it in their belongings now. I can't believe it's been almost 3 years since I left uni. Like, it's literally 2 weeks. No, it is 11 days to the day since I finished uni 3 years ago.
I can't remember when I graduated. It was July 7th, I think, or July 4th. It was July.
You finished in May, though, right?
Yeah. Like, I would have, my hand in would have been a week ago. Papa John's is really reaching for me. They keep mailing me 50% off pizza.
Oh, really?
And they've sent me it every week.
Shall we order pizza?
Not now, no.
Right now. Pizza. I have to size up the eyes as well. The eyes are too small, which is annoying because the eyes are 2.4 centimeters, which is what they should be.
Frig, I will say that.
But then the measurement of her head is what the human head should be, so maybe I'll just scale up the eyes a little bit. I mean, there is some wiggle room, or I could have the head slightly too big, but I think it's simpler if I increase the size of the eyes, and maybe I can scale everything down later. Because again, I don't have UVs or anything on this, so I'm not tied to anything. Granted, UVs aren't size dependent anyway. I think that is starting to get somewhere. I need to take it back into Maya now and check the lineup. I will need to thicken the eyelids, because currently they float off the head quite a lot. They float off the eye, sorry. I will need to move the eye back in place as well, but the thickness of the eyelids is too fine. If I solo it and turn off the paint, you can kind of see that they're super thin. Really, really thin. I also need to add some more topology. Topology.
Used to be a video that in first year of uni, they made us watch our way to like model a head, but we had to planar model it. I don't know why. I think it's because our uni couldn't afford ZBrush.
Perfect.
And they didn't install Mudbox. So there was one guy who showed you how to model a head, but his accent was really odd. But I remember he said topology is topology, so it became like an ongoing topology.
Oh, Eugene sent me some reference. Maybe cheeks popping out too much. I will show this on screen because this looks super cool. Thank you, man. That's really helpful. So yeah, I got sent this via Facebook from Eugene.
Is that Eugene?
What?
So Eugene is not in the comments.
Yeah, same Eugene. Cool. So I think the cheekbones coming out too much. I'll check the front lineup. See how that's going. But yeah, I think you're right on that. Because her face feels rounder than, well, her real face feels narrower than mine. So that might be where it's coming from. The mouth looks so funky without the teeth. Her mouth is going to be so hard to nail. Just because of how like unique it is. In the fact it's always open, except from like this photo. In every photo of her mouth is open, with her two front teeth showing. Like all of them. I wonder what causes that. I wonder why her mouth is always open. Yeah, this one shows how flat the cheekbones are actually. So I'll check that from the front view, but that looks like it would probably be right. So let's export this. Oh, let's make sure we've got groups turned off. Cool. Export. Let's create a new version 0004. And just put that in there. Cool. So back into Maya. I'm going to move that off screen. YouTube is like determined to be full screen on my other monitor, and I don't want it to be. Cool. So let's check that camera lineup. So import. I can delete this guy. I also need to rename these. So this is my temp I group, and then this one is FKA twigs group, and then in there is left eye, right eye, which is good. FKA twigs high res, which yeah is empty, just the teeth in there at the moment. Let's import that other eye, not other eye. Cool. Check this against lineups. So nose is too far forward. Eye is... See, I can't tell. I feel like the eye needs to go just a touch further backwards. Just a tiny, tiny bit. Neck needs to be brought in at the back. I don't know about the front. Maybe it does. So we'll bring that further forward. Still need to bring the jaw up. I thought I brought that up enough. Lips are way off, but I think I'll focus on them at a different point. Let's turn off selection highlighting. Yeah, so lips are way off, but I'll focus on those in a second. We need to hollow out the jaw, bring in the bottom of the ear just a tiny, tiny bit. See, this is something I'm going to struggle with as well, because like I've never done a camera lineup on a character before, so I don't know what exactly I'm looking for. Obviously, that's something that comes with experience, but like, cause it's actually really hard to find resources on how to do camera lineups properly with organic, something where you don't have perspective lines. But yes, something that is going to be tricky, I think, is her inner eye. Well, not her inner eye, like the inside edge of her eye, so where the caruncle sits. It looks like it's in the right place. I need to bring this part of the eyelid forward, but then this one's too far back. So is this a rotation thing, or is the eye further forward on this side? Because it doesn't have to be like there is variation there. There could be more padding behind that side of her eye compared to most people, or my whole thing could be rotated slightly. But the nose suggests otherwise. The nose feels pretty well lined up for rotation.
There's something on the nose that's annoying.
What?
The little tiny lip that she has.
Yeah, I haven't got that in there yet.
The little, like, you know, like the broken bit.
This bit.
No.
It's pointing your nose? Pointing your nose?
She's got really, really slight turn on her nose. That's my sister has it. This here. See the way it's like slightly turned up? If you go back to your mole.
Where the whole thing goes.
Like that. Like around it.
Yeah.
You don't have that. See, but it's like, you see what I mean? You can actually see the pixel. Yeah, you can actually see the pixelation. It's almost like just like really softly.
Here, I need to pull this bit back.
Yeah.
I need to pull the nostril forward.
And just this part.
Elongate the nostril.
Yeah, just this part. I think this part's, yeah, as you say, like it just needs.
Filter and mouth is too far forward as well, so I need to bring the whole mouth backwards a little bit. Yeah, lips are way off. But yeah, I'm gonna focus on the eyes, I think, because eyes are kind of the key aspect. I need to bring the eyebrow forward as well, because she actually seems to have a little bit. Obviously, some of that is just hair, but there does seem to be a little bit of an off color in the pixels. This isn't really high enough res to really properly do this. I think you're right about rotation. So you think it's a camera lineup thing, where I just need to like rotate it, kind of more towards the camera, or rotation of eyelids. So rotation of eyelids where the inside edge is further forward than the back, which would allow me just to grab this and pull it back, which is nicer. I also need to pull the whole eyes backwards though. The whole thing seems like it's still too far forward. With great difficulty, Becca. Alright, so let's go through the list of those. I'm going to ignore lips just because I feel like I want to get everything else in place first. So nostril needs flattened and extended in both sides. The kind of cushion around the nostril needs to be pulled in at the top and down at the bottom. I'm going to ignore the bulb of the nose for now. Chin needs hollowing out almost completely. And this section of the ear needs pulling back. Okay, so let's give that a quick pass. So this needs to be move tool. I'll leave the eyes alone because Eugene says he's looking for some ref. So I'm going to let him do what he needs to do. So let's bring this forward, this back, and that will make a straight line in theory. I also need to bring this back a little bit, but that can wait. Also this little section. Is it the anti-helix that one's called? Yeah, type of lens. So we don't know the focal length of this image, which is a bit of an issue. However, her other album, like all the other album covers I can find, are 150mm. This one, I believe, is for an album shoot as well, so it's not paparazzi. So I'm going to assume the same focal length was used. And to be fair, I think the focal length of 150 does a pretty decent job at getting close. I don't think it's lower like 80 or anything like that. It's definitely a high focal length. It doesn't feel like anything close to fisheye, obviously. So I've guessed 150. Obviously, we can fine tune it to match after. Because as you guys would know, like it's a back and forth process. Like you do your camera lineup, you do your model, then your model makes you realize your camera lineup is wrong. So then you fix that, and it's back and forth, back and forth. I don't know how many times you need to go back and forth because in my case it's something I'm new to, which is a little bit frustrating sometimes. But yeah, so let's pull that a little bit back. This forward and this back, so that produces a straight line. Cool. And if I remember correctly, this needs to go up a little bit. So then the next thing was, let's just pull this up a little bit, this down a little bit. This needs to go forward, this needs to go forward, this needs to go down, this needs to go back and down. Front angle's not working anymore on the nose, so I'm going to have to adjust that to the front ref. Let's leave it alone for now. Eye needs to go further back, at least on this side, and I think further back in the middle as well. So I might grab the whole eye and pull it back, and then pull this section forward. So let's do that. And then at some point I'm going to have to do a pass on topology and make it really uniform, because like the inside of the mouth, inside the eyes, all that sort of stuff is like really stretched polygons at the moment. And yeah, it doesn't really matter, but it's a personal project. I'm doing it to make me happy, so fixing those issues will make me happy.
I'm just holding the
Cool, so let's just grab that, put the mask. Let's pull the whole thing back just a little bit, and then grab this middle section, pull it forward. Then this needs to be pulled forward. Definitely need thickening, but that's something I'll do once I've got the eye shape. There's no point doing that early. And then let's pull that a tiny bit forward as well. Oh, I just got the ref sent by Eugene. Yeah, so the inner corner needs to be pulled further out. Yeah, cool. I'll give that a go. Cool, thanks for the ref, man. And thanks for taking the time to drop by the stream and kind of help out. It's really cool. Right, so let's pull this further forward. One thing I'm scared of is accidentally making it way too strong. I also need to pull this ref in a little bit. Getting this is going to be such a nightmare. Let's find, is this ref better? That shows us. See, sometimes makeup can be really helpful as reference, because although obviously makeup is specifically designed to kind of change the shape, if you look at the highlights, it gives you a much better feeling of form. Like in this ref, I can feel this little divot next to the eyelid a lot more than any other reference. And let's go in with the standard brush. And I like to sometimes sculpt like this sort of stuff. I like to sometimes sculpt with wireframe turned on, just so I can brush with the topology. I find that's quite helpful sometimes. Because I can always move the topology, but there's no point fighting against it. So something like that. And we're going to need to go high res. And then this needs to be thicker. That's too thin on this side. So let's just. That's a little bit better. This needs to blend in a little bit. So when I'm doing stuff like this, what I'm looking for, because obviously there's a certain amount of just like studying anatomy, but anatomy doesn't teach you how skin folds at this kind of level anyway. Like obviously it tells you why the nasolabial fold and that sort of stuff exists, but it doesn't tell you, because there's so much genetic variation, it doesn't tell you how this stuff works. So what I tend to look for is purely highlights. I'm looking almost entirely at specular information when I sculpt this stuff. I'm thinking of it more like painting. There's a really good YouTuber called Cynics Designs. I'll put his name in the chat because I really recommend this guy. He's just incredible. He's a painter, but he has two lessons that are really interesting. One of them is paint like a sculptor, and the other one, oh god, what was the name of it? It was like about the contrast in form and how to use it. I can't remember the name of it. I'll track it down at some point. But yeah, his stuff is incredibly helpful. Are you still working from home? Yeah, I'm still working from home. Will be for the foreseeable future. This curve feels wrong.
This curve is wrong curve.
This doesn't feel like it would fit an eye is the problem. I feel like it needs to do something more like that. Thanks, Eugene, and thank you for all the references. Very much appreciated. Yeah, thanks for dropping by.
Is he away?
Yeah, he's got to head off. I think in Montreal right now they're 5 hours behind. Yeah, 5 hours behind. So he might have been on like a late lunch or something. Yeah, I'll look at your note with the cheek as well. It's super helpful, man. Actually, that's something I meant to do while I was still in Maya. So let's hollow out the chin and then move back into Maya. So this needs to be pulled forward, right? Let's check that in here. Yeah, so the neck needs to be pulled forward. I need to pull it forward a lot at the back, and then let's bring the skull forward a bit as well. Oh, and pull this up. So this is one of the reasons I haven't done UVs yet, is because I'm fully expecting to like redo a few sections of topology, specifically around the ears, like just add some loops here or there. Because I've got a feeling a lot of this will need to change. So I've not bothered with UVs because there's no point. If I'm going to change topology, I'm going to have to rebuild it anyway. If any beginners are watching this, then something to be aware of is like, although generally you want to work like, well, obviously it's a preference in this, but generally you want to work high poly, then retopo, and then UVs and texturing, all that stuff. I think something that needs to be spoken for a bit more is the fact that it's a back and forth process. In the industry, no model is final up until the very end. Like, topology changes are still being made sometimes really late on, like months into a character's development. It really is a back and forth process, so don't be afraid of kind of, if you're fighting topology, then just change the topology, and you'll have a much easier time in the long run. Brush, auto-masking, where are you? Auto-masking, let's turn on back face mask. We need to do asymmetry pass at some point as well. That's going to be fun. I haven't hollowed out the chin enough. And then, does this need to be brought forward? There we go, that's better. So Eugene's note, I believe, was pulling this in more. So I'm going to have to check that against the ref. Because I think he's right. I just need to find a good reference to show it. I also think this line is... There we go, that's better. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad you like it. I believe your name is a new one, Jacob, so welcome to the stream.
It's gonna be weird. I wanted to think of you talking to your brother.
Well, my little brother.
Yeah.
Oh, Jacob, yeah.
Is Jacob watching the stream?
Jacob, what are you doing?
Go to bed.
I swear, stop, don't come to my streams. My little brother is an innocent little boy, so I don't want to. If he was watching this, I'd be like, no, leave.
Your mum would know my true extent of your swearing, not swearing.
My mum knows the true extent of my swearing. She is very disappointed in me, just like my father.
Glad your mum doesn't watch this fucking stream. Actually eat you. Well, I mean, I feel like she'd like need to.
No, she'd be proud of me for saying
She
that.
also like voice record it and just post it somewhere.
Don't put it past her, she will. Cool. Let's get that saved. Let's edit, delete history, and then save that in ZBrush scenes, and I'm going to increment this one. I'm also going to need to resave that because I just remembered I've got another sculpt in here that I need to remove. So I definitely need to do some secondary form passes because currently she feels incredibly featureless, but let's get the likeness working first, shall we? So let's save that. Now I've deleted the other model. Cool. Now I've got that. Let's export that back out. Double check because I never trust it. That group is turned off. Also, if anyone can tell me why group, like export subgroups, is on by default, because it always breaks. If anyone can tell me why that is, that'd be really appreciated. I'm going to save over version 4 because otherwise I'm going to have way too many files. So let's delete you. File import. Also, if anyone's confused by my viewport, I currently have selection highlighting turned off so that I don't have to. Oh, that's not what I want. Also, holding control with this visible, I don't know if you noticed as well, Becca. When you've got one of these menus up, if you need to uncheck or check multiple things, hold control and you can click through them and it doesn't close the menu every time. It's a really random little thing that saves a shocking amount of time.
A G.
Right, so the eye's in the right place now. Actually, that topology lines up almost perfectly with the actual eyeball. The nose isn't right yet. Let's put a proper material on this. Let's put Berlin on it. There we go. So, this is why checking your reflections is incredibly helpful. Right here we have a thin highlight that kind of goes like, it's like a crescent moon shape. In the ref we have a very flat plane. So obviously a certain amount of that is lighting. But if we have a round highlight here and she doesn't, that's not down to lighting, that's down to the form itself. So this is why it's important to check specular highlights. They're probably the most helpful thing, to be honest. I massively need to change the shape of the ear in this area. I also need to pull the ear canal way forward. I've used mine for 18 years and didn't know that. What, holding control with that menu? Yeah, it's super helpful. Super helpful. The jaw is almost correct. We're getting closer now. I also need to pull this bit further forward and tweak it just here. Although we will be getting to a point soon where I can start doing some of these changes in Maya and having it like stay. Lip is the most wrong at the moment, so let's go in and spend some time on that. And then I can do eye thickness, eyelid height as well, because that's currently off. This needs to come way down, this little peak. This needs to be more defined. Will you be using the whole XYZ workflow or sculpt pause and all that jazz? I'll be using the XYZ workflow. I need to buy some texturing XYZ maps. Luckily there's a female 20s for $20, I think. So I can buy that, it's not much of an issue. So I'll be using that. I will be sculpting as much as I can, but I think if I'm going for photorealism, why would I not use scan data? There is no point for me to neglect scan data. So I'm just going to do that. I'm looking forward to modelling the earrings. The earrings. Oh,
I can see you getting to the point where you're like, fuck this.
what? The earrings?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'll be a nightmare. If I bring the ref back on screen. These earrings are going to be actually kind of fun. I'm kind of anticipating it being fun. As Becca says, I'll probably hate it when I've started. I really want to replace the faces with like previous projects of mine. I think that'd be quite fun to do.
Scan my face and make one.
That would require me doing a scan of your face.
I will do the scan of my face.
If you do a scan of your face, I will gladly put it on the earrings of this character. Oh, we need to check the front view because I haven't checked that yet.
A really old 3D model of my face that actually matches red.
We're actually getting really close in the eye shape. This is too pointy. It matches on this side, but we want it to match on both sides. This needs to come out very slightly to the right. I need to smooth out the eyelid shape. Nose is way off in this view, so I've got a feeling that I need to rotate, because the top of the head is way off as well. Yeah, I think I need to zoom in and rotate slightly. So let's give that a go. I hate that the camera pivot moves like that, and I also hate the fact I can't undo that now.
Oh yes, that is one of my biggest gripes with the undo things. Like, why can't you undo your camera move? That is a
Well, you can. It's Alt Z, but I've got Shadow Play, and I don't know how to turn it off. And Shadow Play is maps to Alt Z. I had it lined up. I mean, I can always just go back. Oh, there we go. How do I get the eyes right but the nose so wrong? Can't be a focal length thing, can it? Because now the nose and the lips match relatively close, but the eyes are way off. And the head is still unbelievably far off, which is annoying because it matches from the other view. Let's check the other view. Yeah, like for the other view, it's actually slightly too much. This nose is too much of a bump. We need to lower that a little bit. We also need to lower this section of the mouth. And the ear on this side being off actually suggests that she's rotated more that way. Let's try that. That's much closer. Okay, so I need to... There we go, camera lineup's getting better now. Top of the head's still way off. Ears are getting closer, but they're too short. And jaw is way off now. But is that the jaw shape being wrong, or is that the ref being wrong? Just tilt it slightly that way. Jaw width is off quite a lot. I think this is as correct as I'm gonna get it, to be honest. So let's keyframe this camera position. There we go. This ref is nowhere near. Oh, wrong thing. This ref is nowhere near. I'm gonna need to get a lot further on the lightness stuff for that to work. As in, like, the camera lineup is nowhere near in this ref. And then this one is pretty much useless. I need to get some more lineups, but I want to get the front, the front and side matching before I worry about the other stuff. One thing that will go a long way to making it feel more human is the thickness of the eyelids. Currently they're way too thin, so I might just quickly hammer some of that out. But yeah, the lips. Let's work on the lips for a bit, shall we? I'm going to struggle a lot on lips, so I need to get this bridge position. In fact, let's nail the nose, because I think the nose will help a lot in giving context. And then we need to really change the shape of the jaw quite a bit. And this bit. There's a lot that we need to change. And we need to flatten this area. I think it's by flattening this guy rather than rounding it out. But yeah, so let's focus on the nose. So, where is it? View, camera settings, so camera tools. Let's keep this guy off to the side. So pull the philtrum back a bit. The nostril actually lines up quite well. I need to pull this down, whatever the name of that is. The highlight for the nose is matching up pretty well. The actual bulb of the nose is too large. The bridge is way too big. Eyelid is okay. Maybe this needs pulled back a little bit. Oh, the bottom lid is wrong from this angle. But it's fairly correct from the front, if I remember correctly. Okay, so if it's correct from the front, that means we just need to pull back and forth to match the shape. Let's get the nose anyway. So, bridge down, top of the nostril up. Let's do that first. So, bridge down by, let's say, no, that's not what I want. I think that might be already too much, but let's just give it a go. So filter needs to be pulled back, right? That was one of the main. And what was the other thing? Nostril down slightly and this down a bit. And then we need to hollow this area out quite a lot. Middle and the nostril. Let's give that a go. So once we get that in place, let's check the okay, so let's flatten this out a little bit. And the jaw needed pulling in and back quite a lot, didn't it? Let's just double check that ref again. Also, 2D pan and zoom tool is an amazing tool when you're matching reference. It basically allows you to move your camera without actually moving your camera. I cannot say highly enough how helpful that is. And then I'm just tapping H back and forth to hide and unhide the mesh. So I need to pull this even further back, and this needs to be a more pronounced shape. The ear canal I'm going to have to massively adjust. I might have to change topo for that to work. And then this section of the eye is going to have to change quite a bit, but that can wait. There's jaw that I came in to check though. So jaw needs to lose some volume from the side, and camera lineup issues. So we'll ignore this angle for now on the jaw. We'll get back to that when we understand the shape a bit better. And should I match the throat? Or should I match the neck in this one? I don't want to match the length of it, I think. Because her neck feels just so long in this image. I know I've gone on about that several times, but it really, really does. So let's fix the ear shapes. Obviously she's got some earrings weighing her ear down, which we will be modeling, so maybe it's worth matching this, but for now I'm going to ignore that. So let's just get this section needs to come down, this needs to go be more pronounced, this needs to go up, and this needs to be more pronounced. So let's do that. So you can go up. Cool. You can be more pronounced, so let's get a standard brush along that topology line. this needs to go back a bit. And I'll need to even out this topology at some point as well. And then this needs to be way more pronounced. Ear canal I'll fix in Maya, because I think that's going to be more trouble than it's worth to fix in here. Or I could just do this actually. It's beautiful. So these edges I'll probably just do an edge flow in Maya. Or I could just smooth it. There we go. That feels a bit healthier. Definitely need some edge loops in here. Cool. Did the eyes need to be pulled further up, right? Yeah, so this part of the eyelid. Let's check the front ref as well. Oh, front ref is fine. Front ref is completely, in fact this side needs to be brought up, but other than that, front ref is completely chill. So that means that it needs to be backwards and forwards that it needs to get moved. So that means that nope. Where's mask pen? There we go. So if we get this guy, there we go. And then all I have to do is just grab this and bring it back. So obviously this is now going to need to be tweaked to feel natural again. Get some high frequency accidental shapes in here. And this needs to come up. Oh, not the eyelid though. Let's start pulling the neck forward quite a bit. Let's just make the neck longer as well. Just a little bit. Let's delete the history again. Edit, delete, undo history. I'm just gonna grab some water. We're back in a second, guys. And then we'll fix some eyes stuff. Alright, any water back?
Nice.
Okay.
down to 4 viewers. We're doing well.
Gav's the fifth.
Was it?
Gav's
Viewers? We were at like 11 earlier, or 10 or something.
No, this isn't my work. Okay. Cool. So we got that saved. Let's export that back out. I really wish it would remember, like, when you're exporting, you want to go to a different directory to when you're saving. That'd be a nice little production feature if they did that. What?
Hell of a job, Donnie. You've managed to bring back the 1918 pandemic, 1929 depression, and the 1968 race riots at the same time. Jesus.
Wait, who's this?
I don't know what the. Is this Donnie? But I don't know what the name.
Oh, Donald Trump. That's what you mean.
Oh, I was like, who the fuck's Donnie? What did he do?
Right, so eye is matching pretty well. Eyelid is still off. Nose is a lot closer now, but mine's too pointy. Lips are still way off. I need to stop skipping on the lips, but I'm just so scared. I need to put a blin on this as well. Assign existing material, blin. There we go. So you said we got that flat area back. Still not quite right, but it's getting closer. We've also got this plane above the eyebrow is wrong, but that's such a small detail compared to the other stuff that needs fixing. So chin needs to go in, the lip needs to go in, the corner of the mouth is fine, but everything else needs to be pulled back, which means my mouth is too round. Filtrum's in pretty much the right place, although it needs to be pulled down, I think. If we zoom in out, if we zoom in there. Yeah, so this is almost far enough back, it just needs to be pulled down and rounded out while I'm at it. And then this kind of drop is somewhat shadow, somewhat actual position. So nostril shape is going to be something I have to tweak a few times. We can use this to line up the nostrils later. It's like the thickness of the nostril kind of. What are these called? Like the flaps? No, not flaps. Is the wrong word. I'm not entirely sure.
The nostril holes?
What did you call them? Nose balls?
The nose balls.
The nose balls. That's what you called them. Weirdly, the corners of the mouth are actually lining up relatively well in the front view as well. So that's at least a good sign that it just needs to be pulled backwards. Ears are nowhere near in this front view. I think I'm just going to have to sculpt that without checking. Maybe we can pull off this neck length. It just feels so long.
It looks like that's being manipulated, but I don't know if it actually is.
Well, the collarbones are so close.
Yeah.
It's already technically that length. I just need to push and pull it backwards and forwards so the shoulders are too far back and all that sort of stuff. Now see, chest needs to be brought way out. I've got the rib cage like insanely flat. Right, I'll fix the neck a little bit. Ear I'm happy with for now. We can move on from that. I'll need to do some slight topology changes, I think, for this little bit here, because it's just not enough resolution in that area. Round out the nose, bring that down, and that will allow me to start getting the lips a bit closer. So bring you down, very subtly round that out, add a little bit more down here. So that should be about right. EMV, grab this guy. I need to go higher resolution to capture the neck. I think I'm gonna, like, the final Maya model will be subdiv 1 anyway, which is 54,000 polygons, which sounds excessive, but I think if you're new to VFX or you haven't worked in the industry, 54,000 polygons for a bust, although it is a lot, isn't out of the realm of possibility for some assets. I've worked on Digi doubles with more polygons than that, so it's not something to really worry about too much. I need to increase the thickness of the nostrils a little bit. So let's go in with a move. What did I just do? Nice pen. So let's go in with a move and just thicken this out a little bit. And then this needs to be brought down, if I remember correctly. There we go. Chin needed to be brought back, although I'm not sure how much, so we'll keep it subtle. This needs to be pulled back a little bit, this bit forward. Then let's just grab a little bit of brow. The furthest out point of the eyelid is too far away from the cornea, so let's grab you. That feels more natural. And also this needed to be pulled down a little bit. I'm going to undo that because I'm not convinced. So let's pull the whole mouth back just a little bit. Oh, the whole mouth except from the corners. So let's just do that. And turn the polypaint back on. Okay. Let's just quickly go in and clear out namespaces. It technically doesn't matter at this stage, but I want to make sure I've not got loads. Yeah, there we go. No, that was quick. Cool. Import. Lips are much closer now. Nose is almost right. We've got a little bit too much volume here. Eyelids are still way off. It is pretty much okay. We need to pull this up a little bit. Chin is still off. We need to reduce volume from here, here, and here. Neck is too far back. The collarbones are almost okay. Chest needs to be brought further forward. This collarbone needs to be brought down. This connection from the sternum needs to go further. Here's okay-ish. Here is not, which is annoying because from the front view it's still off. I think her mouth is more open in this image than the others, which is kind of hazardous because it means that I can't match this lip shape if I match the side view. That needs to be rounder, flatter on top. This needs to be pulled way in. So a certain amount of this is just the eyelashes, but this highest point of the eye needs to be brought down. And this section of the lip needs to be brought in. So let's focus on the lips from the front view a little bit. So it needs to be flatter for sure. This needs to be slightly wider. That's fine. This is fine from the front view. We just need a bit more volume. That's not what I want. So we needed a little bit more. A little bit more there. A little bit more on the back of the lips, I think. Just add a little bit of volume here. That feels nicer. That was a huge part of it, I think, is the thinness of the lips, which means we need to do the same for the top. So let's just do that, and then sculpt just a little bit of extra volume back here. I'm also going to paint it while I'm in here. So let's pick the lip color. And let's do use back face mask. Brush, back face mask. Check that out. Cool, that's working fine. And then let's just get rid of that. And we can get rid of that in the process, which means we can get rid of that. Cool. Weirdly enough, when I just isolate the mask, that feels quite nice, but it suggests there's something wrong with the neck and skull volume, because this feels a lot more natural than the rest of the model. Granted, it's because it's where all the time has gone. It also means that there's probably something wrong with the ears. That feels quite nice, actually. Hey, Becca. When I hide the ears and the head and everything, it feels a lot more natural.
It's terrifying. It's like a death mask. Jesus, that's also.
Hello.
It's like a little Bugs Bunny.
Hello. Let's just. No, wrong color. Yeah, ears are an issue. So the highest point of the eyes needs to be brought forward. So let's just. Not brought forward, brought down, sorry. This bit right here. And let's check the other angles because they will break. This needs to start coming back, this loop. Oh, the it's got some subtleties in there. So I'm just going to sculpt, not based on the ref right now. Oh, I need to bring the ref onto the screen just so you guys can see it. I'm not going to focus too heavily on the ref exactly right now, because what I'm missing is secondary forms. And although you can see those in the ref, I know where some of them should be. So when I get them in place, then we can tweak them to the reference. I generally find for me that's a lot quicker. We also need to remove some volume here, just a little bit. So let's just start getting some textural shapes in there a little bit. What's the chat going off about?
Jet Wicket.
Hmm?
Jet Wicket.
I don't have Facebook on the screen. Get some roundness on there. So sculpting symmetrically is something that is worth talking about sometimes. So personally, I like to sculpt symmetrically as long as humanly possible. I will stay symmetrical almost to the point of where look dev is mostly done, and then I'll go back and re-sculpt with symmetry turned off, just so I can kind of get get some real control over everything, because it's a lot easier to control when you've got symmetry turned off. Like when you got symmetry turned on, a lot easier to control, just because I'm going to be going over this same exact spot like 8-10 times just to get it feeling natural, and then I'd have to do the other side 8 or 10 times to get it feeling natural, but then I'd have to do it another 8 or 9 times to get it matching the feeling of the other side. So it's not just feeling natural, but also feels like congruent to the rest of the sculpt, which is a huge issue. So generally I'll stay symmetrical as long as I can. I'll drop down resolution sometimes, like I just did, because that can help quite a lot. This is too round. Let's get those cheekbones right, because they're off. Where's this artifacting keep coming from? Oh, I darkened the notes intentionally earlier, didn't I? I want to sculpt the ear a little bit. just to get some of that detailing, because it is very flat compared to the rest of the asset. Very boring looking. This increases the intensity a little bit, so we can get some more of that texture. So right now, again, I'm not worrying too much about matching the reference exactly. I just want to get in the general forms that I see from the ref. So like we got this little nodule here, so let's get that in. And I'm just looking for shadows and highlights. So I see a little shadow here, a little highlight there. So I want to make sure that these shapes can be found in my highlights. So right here, we've got this highlight, but it's in the wrong place. So we need to hollow out this area a little bit. The little volume here, and now we're moving that highlight across the ear, which is exactly what we want. Let's also hollow out this area a little bit. There we go, that's feeling a bit better. And if you're looking at this stuff and being like, oh, how does he see this? And don't worry about it. It's something that, you know, if you can't see what I'm talking about with the highlights, that's completely fine. It's something you'll get an eye for over time. Just kind of keep considering it as much as you can, and eventually you'll get it. Eventually you'll be like, oh, that's what he's talking about, and you'll kind of see it everywhere. So we've got a little bit of pinching in the topology here. A little bit of a thing here that I don't have in my model. Even doing that, you see how just adding that little bit of roundness here and there just really helps a lot. This is too defined. Let's pull him back a little bit. And let's just give him a little bit of volume here. Got that nodule in place. It's a little bit bumpy, but we can fix that. It's no big deal. There's a little bit of a thing here that I need to get. This is too far forward. There is where it needs to go. So I'm actually, when I do stuff like this, what I'm looking for isn't really the reason I'm doing this back here, because no one will see this, but I'm also not really changing the form much. What I am getting is this kind of brush stroke effect, which provides quite a nice kind of natural breakup. I like working with that stuff a lot. Just getting a little bit of that in there will make it feel so much less CG. We'll need to do some crease work around this area, I think. But I'm not too worried about that yet. There's also a little nodule behind your ear. not a nodule, like a little gap. So I'm going to try to get that in a little bit. Not a huge amount, but just enough. Even that. Although weirdly it's smoothing super strange in that area. This is why sometimes sculpting with topology on is really helpful, because it allows you to kind of see where your poles are and if they're going to kind of get in your way a little bit. We also don't have enough definition of this guy, so let's do that even. That might be enough. Yeah, that's why it's so important to get your highlights right. This needs to be flatter. That needs to go up like that. This needs to be a flat line, but I'm going to worry about that later. There's a little bit of a defined patch here. This might be coming from the earrings though, so I'm a bit hesitant to really define that. That feels a lot nicer. Does anyone have any questions while I do this, by the way, or is everyone okay? Starting to get a lightness back now. Hey Ian, hope you're doing well. Also, good luck with the thing you told me about earlier. I'm not going to mention what it was, but you spoke to me earlier about it. Good luck with that. It's nothing bad for people in chat who are going to then wonder what that is. It's quite a good thing. Skull is wrong. We're going to need to do quite a lot of work on the skull, I think. I'm going to make sure the face and ears are working first, though. I think we can delete the history on this guy now. Edit, delete history. I always end up deleting the history around 4,500. Like, almost every time it's pretty much dead on that amount that I'm deleting the history. Let's pull out to the other screen. Export this. Modeling, ZBrush, exports, version 4. Cool. Back into Maya. Let's delete you. Import. Same guy again. Add the existing material. Blend. Let's pull in this section a little bit because it is too wide on both sides. So the jaw needs to come in a little bit there. The chin is okay. So it's just this section on the jaw, which allows me to define the cheekbones more without actually pulling. So the cheekbones need to go in. I can see that much. So cheekbones in front of the ear. Ears themselves need to go in a little bit. This kind of the bit where the jaw turns to go forward needs to pull in quite a lot, just there. And that will actually start to get me a lot closer. What does this angle tell me? I'm going to ignore the lips for now because the lips are still way off working. Ears are getting pretty close. I need to get this thing, but again, that's the topology issue right there. And then this stuff here is more about stretching. I'm starting to get the highlight, which is nice. Nose is almost right now. Neck needs to come way forward. Let's get that jaw stuff sorted because I think that will make quite a big difference to lightness. So, ears need to go in more, especially at the bottom. Although I think at all angles, to be fair, they need to go in more. And then pull the jaw in and pull the cheekbone in less. And I think that will get us more where we want, and then I'm going to start getting like some details. So not details, but like I'm going to really focus on one area, like really hyper focus, and get one area polished up. Again, it's not quite right. I think considering that we don't have any asymmetry, it's working quite well. We need to get the nostril shape from this angle, right? But yeah, let's get the ears. Ears in, jaw in, cheekbone. Let's keep the cheekbone where it is for now, although it will need to go in as well. So, big boy brush. Pull that in quite a bit. Then, same thing for the jaw, just pull that in quite a bit. Maybe not as much as I have done. Head's too round. Let's just do I think it's kind of helpful to just ignore the skull, because the skull is way off. I'm getting closer. I think modelling the crunkle soon will be pretty helpful. This crease is too sharp. That needs to be softened out. So let's address that quickly. Just go in and add a little bit of volume here, remove a little bit of volume there. Then go up a subdivision level, same thing. And then there we go, we got rid of the crease. What was the other thing? Ears have gone in. Let's check out the nostrils. So nostrils out more at this point and in more at that point. And this needs to go down, I think, but the other angle's working fine, so I think that's a lineup issue. But I can still trust the sideways note on the nostril itself. This needs to come in. So let's give that a go. So out more here. In more there. And in more there. That's feeling a lot better. There we go. Let's just go in with some clay. Get some of that roundness. Make it feel a bit more plump. This area is wrong. So this section needs to go in quite a lot. Let's check that out. So this needs to get pulled in. It's like a lot more hollow. This also needs to come out slightly. So let's do that. I need to stop minimizing it and just show my... So this needs to come out a little bit. So let's just add a little bit of volume right here. That might be enough. Then we need to take a little bit of volume, which I'm going to go down subdivision levels for, right here. The topology is getting a bit broken now, so we're going to need to start smoothing out the model. Again, this is one of the many reasons I haven't done UVs yet. There we go. That feels a lot more natural. This is still a bit hollow though. So, oh, just like message, nice progress. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. earlobe needs to go in the most, so let's pull the earlobe in a lot. I need to get out of that habit. Right, so grab the earlobe. Let's show the whole model and do that. And then let's fix the neck while we're at it. So this needs to be less obvious. And this needed to be brought way forward. What else needs to be done to the neck? That needs to go up very slightly, same with most of the jaw. And chest needs to go way out. So up very slightly along with the rest of the jaw. And then chest needed to go way more out. Apparently I underestimate rib cages. That's a note I always end up having to give myself. See, what I need to make sure I don't do is make it feel like the boobs are here. This needs to be ribcage because they should be way lower. So I need to make sure I'm not accidentally just doing this, because that's not where boobs are. That's something as well I see quite a lot, especially when you see guys sculpting women, is like they really don't like gravity on boobs. Like they just never put them there. Always make sure that positioning is correct on that stuff. It matters a lot. Shoulders need to be pulled forward, was it? Yeah, just the trap, and also the shoulder mesh, I guess. The collarbones need to go down slightly, but they also need to be hollowed out just in front. So let's do that. Much better. Right, so this area needs to be pulled in, which I think the positioning of the shoulder is the biggest issue for that. We're really starting to get likeness now. That's good to see. Edit, delete history. Save this guy. I'm going to increment save now. What I need is some mad FKA fans to find the stream and tear me to pieces. Let's pull the sides of the skull in a little bit. She feels like she's got a really bulbous head in my sculpt. That helps a lot. I don't know where I'm getting all this color artifacting from. It keeps coming back over and over and over again. There it was there. I don't know if you can see it in the compression of YouTube, but it's really annoying. I'm also going to need to figure out the hairline, because that's not right. I think this should be higher. This is not going to be helpful for me to me for a while, but it will be helpful to me eventually. think we're getting closer, although this feels a bit sharp. So let's fix that. This doesn't feel right at all. I feel like we need a bit more roundness. Too defined. Symmetry on this sort of stuff is really a killer. Subdivisions are so helpful for that stuff though. Absolute savers. Does that need to come in? I don't think it is. Might model a caruncle into place. So it'll start to be helpful pretty soon. I also need to scale the eyes up. But getting a caruncle will really help getting the scale of that right. So let's just delete, undo history, save again. Cool, and then go down to lower subdivision, export. Go back into version 4, can export over you. I'm replacing the same one over and over again just because I've got the ZBrush scene as a backup, and I'm pretty sure I'm making positive progress on most of these changes, so I'm not too worried about that. Let's just add existing material, blend. So the bridge of nose is slightly off. The forehead is very slightly off. Lips are still the main issue. Still need to go braver on that neck. The back of the skull is wrong as well. What do you guys think the main issue is? Is it the bottom lip? It's the bottom lip, isn't it? Starting to get the reflection around the eye. I feel like I need to flatten this area just a little bit more to get that. The roughness here just needs to make it rounder rather than anything else. This needs to be quite different, this area in here. This needs to go down a little bit. The nasolabial fold is not defined enough. Tweak on the jaw wasn't quite enough. I need to pull this bit at the earlobe in more, but then pull the jaw out a little bit. Also, this is too green on the lip. Yeah, I thought so. It's annoying because the lip is just so difficult to get right. Like her lips, like I'm not used to sculpting like black lips. Like it's just not that easy. I can never seem to get it right. Oh god, yeah, it's quite a tricky one because they're a lot rounder than what I'm used to sculpting. But I'm struggling to figure out where to place the forms. Like, I know the general anatomy of the lip, but it doesn't seem to be helping me through that much. I just don't understand it in the context of someone who's black. Like I know I have camera references and stuff, but it's still just like seeing it on reference is one thing, but actually understanding how to construct it is a completely different thing. Hello. Hola. Right, so let's so this needs to go further back. So does this. So does this, oh so slightly. Does the forehead need to come forward? It does, but very mild. What else was it? It was this section of draw needs to go in more. Then this needs to come out a little bit more. That feels a lot more natural. And then the plane change in this area was not defined enough. That's the issue right there. So I think if I was to force the same with that, that's what I need to do functionally. So let's just keep that and trim dynamic around it. Sometimes forcing a plane change is literally what you need to do. Like literally just go in with a trim dynamic or Damien standard and just put the plane where you want it, and then smooth it in. Sometimes that is genuinely what you need to do. Don't be afraid of it. That helps a lot. I think this is too round. So I sure the photos weren't liquefied in Photoshop. It's really hard to tell. I have no way of knowing for sure, to be honest. There's a little bump there that we'll get rid of. Export, ZBrush, exports. There we go, we're getting that plane now. Exactly what we're looking for. It's still not quite right, it needs to go further down. And also this one on the nose is too sharp, which means the model itself is too sharp. It could be also just the reflection strength. Bottom of the bottom lip is still not quite right. The chin is also a little bit more tucked in. Back of the skull is way off. I'm going to worry about the skull once I've got most of the face working now, to be honest. So one plane change that's going to be super interesting, and it could be makeup. In fact, I need a second opinion on this. Becca. This line here, makeup or plane change?
That does not look like makeup, I don't think.
It's hard to tell. It could be like she's got like this could be two things. It could be a plane that's facing towards us and a plane that's facing away, so you're getting a Fresnel effect. Or it could be she's got like kind of a glossy thing here, but not as much over here. Although most of her skin is glossy, so I guess that's just this facing away from facing towards camera, right? Getting those creases in the eyes is going to be super fun. So you think pulling this plane change? Because if I show you my model, you think it's a plane change?
I think it is definitely looking at shadowing.
Cool. I also need to pull this back. Alright, so I need a plane change there. I also need to get this part of the brow a little bit more defined. Nose still isn't quite right, it needs more rounding at this point. And this is still not far enough back. The lip is not far enough up. So that we're a hell of a lot closer than we were at the start of the stream. So, progress is being made. And then this view, the thing that's bugging me most about this view, other than the mouth and the fact the jaw doesn't even come close to lining up, we're ignoring the ears, they don't exist, is this section of the eye right here. Mine feels super weird, like just bending in. So that's a small thing I need to fix. I'm also completely missing the thickness of the eyelids. Ooh, there's a plane change there I don't have. This is a lot more defined. Nose is shifting, but I don't know if that's camera lineup or not. Obviously neck we can't even come close to matching because that's a pose thing. She's got her head twisted, and obviously I don't want to pose the model just for that, so I've just twisted the camera to match. Her neck is a lot rounder than I expected. Mine needs to be brought out a little bit. While we're at it, let's save this scene. And then I think in the next stream, so on Thursday, I'll try to line up these references a little bit better so we can get a little bit more information from them. This one I think is the one that will be most helpful once I figure out how to get it posed. I think she needs to be rotated looking slightly more away from camera because this eye is not that far from lining up, but this one's way off. Which to me suggests that it needs to be brought forward. Also that means the ear is going to be in the wrong place quite a lot, which is a little bit annoying. I also got this random highlight on here, which isn't good. She doesn't have it. This is very helpful for the jaw though, because this part of the jaw lines up pretty well. This part doesn't, which means I need to go even further on the ear, pull that in even more. So let's do that. Let's turn off that. Let's fix this bit of the eye. Even doing that is enough to make it feel better. Again, I cannot stress enough how important it is to sometimes model with your topology. Not necessarily modeling with it visible, just modeling with it, as in like your brush structure follow it to a certain extent. If you can't get the forms while following topology, then your topology is wrong, and that would need tweaking. Ooh, that's pretty horrible looking. There we go. So there's a bit of a plane change here that I need to get. I think that's where it is. Which makes sense because that's roughly where the fold of the eye sits anyway. So we'll fold above the eye. That's obviously too sharp, but we'll fix that. I need to go against the flow a little bit. Let's get a chronicle in place. If we're wondering why I'm constantly deleting history, it's just because the scene file is a lot smaller. I could probably set the preferences so it saves without history. In fact, let's check that. So it's not that one I want. Where is it? Config maybe? No. So now there's quick save. Undo history. Aha! There we go. Turn that off. Cool. So, what was I going to do? Oh yeah, model chronicle. Right, so let's append a sphere. And where is the sphere? So, geometry, modify topology. Let's just scale it down. Mirror and world. I'll just turn the Z intensity up on the move brush. So, geometry, zero mesher. So let's pick a color like this one, and let's pick toy plastic. Bless you. And let's go MRGB color fill objects. So one thing to take note of is the fact that my eye's in the wrong place at the moment. They've not been matched up to cameras, so I have to kind of ignore how the eye is sitting a little bit. Let's also just get the reference in the scene. Does anything else show it better? See, this one, the lighting helps a little bit. We can see there's like a pocket here, and then a flat section that connects to the eye. This one doesn't really show that as much, but it's still helpful because we see the angle. So let's do that'll do for now, just because we don't have the final eyelids and eye positioning. But that will do just for getting the general. Maybe let's just do this actually. There we go. It's not feeling right. This angle. So I think I just want to quickly test out, and I don't think this will work because it will change the colours too much. But if I go into material and set this colour fill object, so that is set to be basic material no matter what. Then if I change to toy plastic, where is it? I literally just used it, well I can't find it. There it is. Cool. Set this to M. How well does this? Nah, it changes too much. I was wondering like how well I can use this to kind of get a nice like tear effect. It changes the color too much. The diffuse values are different. But I was wondering like how well would that kind of enable me to get like a tear effect. It kind of works in a way because it naturally kind of pushes the makeup away, but it's a bit much. It's interesting though. So let's get basic material, color fill object. Oh, if you want to get rid of material assignment, because now obviously I can change this and nothing happens. If you want to get rid of material assignment, if you set this to material, then set this to flat color, and go color fill object with material enabled. So that will fill it with flat color, which obviously we don't want. But because you've filled it with it, it's actually it doesn't fill it. It disables whatever material you've got filled, which is really helpful. because that means now I've got, you know, whatever material I've got selected is the one that's being applied. Also, material blending would be really nice. Completely unnecessary for sculpting, but I feel like it would be quite nice feature-wise to have. Let's bring this in. So let's get that eyelid right. Getting there. Let's go grab another drink. Be back in a second, guys.
Oh, that's looking cool.
Wow, that sculpt's really cool. That feels very painterly.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it feels like a painting. Wasn't too keen on the creature though. Let's get the eyelids. So they're a lot less defined than I got them. So let's soften that out a little bit. That's already fine. Then we need a little bit of this crease. That needs taming. brush. That's frustrating. Why the hell does backface masking work like that? On remove tool anyway. Starting to feel natural. Ooh, that's not nice.
What?
This bump on the forehead.
Oh.
Beautiful. Alright, let's tame that. That's why it's also really good to check your sculpt from like every angle, even if you don't think it'd be even slightly relevant. Because I didn't notice that until I went to this angle, and now it's like she's one of those deep sea fish, like that has a giant bulb for her face. That feels more natural. Likeness is so fickle. It is getting closer. Alright, let's stop avoiding the let's stop avoiding the lips now. Just so scared. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looks like it needs to turn up.
it's just there's so much
Yeah.
random stuff. So I'm gonna focus one lip at a time. I'm gonna do the top lip first, so which means she's gonna look like a fish in that middle ground when I've done one lip and not the other. I just need to stop putting it off. It's by far the biggest thing holding this back. I think the nose is actually pretty close. Like I've had digitables in work that are not this well matched. Granted, it's not perfect, but you alright? that yeah was like it's shit, Mike. So yeah, there is a lot wrong with it, Mike. There's like a slight bump that's needed here. This needs even more smoothing out. Nostril, this little divot needs to go down.
Yeah.
Cheek around it needs to come out. Ooh, that's actually quite a big one. Cheek around it needs to come out. I'm going to do the lip while I do this. I'm not avoiding it anymore. I just need to quickly fix that while I noticed. That might be all it needs. then that needs to come down just a tiny, tiny bit. There we go. So, what was the nose? What was the top lip? So the whole thing needs to come up just slightly. And this one needs to come out just slightly. Teeth need to go back. They're too close to the lips. Okay, and then what was wrong with the bottom lip? Everything. Alright, okay. Needs more of a lip here, it's like sharper, and he's playing way back. The top actually isn't that far off, it just needs more volume here. That needs pulling back. Oh, let's fix that first actually. So this bit needs pulling back on the top lip. So her lip is more pointy than I've got mine. Which makes sense, because that does look pretty, why are you not moving? Oh, I got the teeth selected. So this needs to go back a little bit, which means you need to go up a tiny bit. Okay, and this needs to come back pretty considerably. And that needs to be sharper. I think I need a bit more volume removing in this area as well. Let's save an alternate. So let's go up a version. Cool. And then let's export him at his lowest subdivision. Or her, I guess. Exports. File. Import. Then that's getting closer. Top of the bottom lip needs to be rounder. Let's check the front view as well. That's getting close. It's getting pretty close. The nose from this front view is still not right. I need to pull this bottom section in a bit more. In fact, the entire nostril needs to do that, so let's do that. And then let's just grab you, pull you in a little bit. Cool. Did anything else need to change from that front view? Need a little bit more volume on the top there. Just a tiny, tiny bit. I'm going to add a little bit more to the back as well. It's starting to feel a bit more full now. Right. I'm gonna end the stream pretty soon, guys, because I can feel my eyes starting to not see stuff the same way, which is obviously a bad sign in terms of if I wanted to keep going. To me, the cheekbone needs to be rounder. Instead of a super soft clay brush. Let's go lights. .85. The furthest out point of cheekbone is too far up. That's feeling more accurate to me. Yeah, it feels a lot nicer. Her skull shape is the next thing we need to fix. Yes, I think so. Yeah, skull. Obviously this isn't the correct silhouette, but this feels more natural than that, which means the skull shape is an issue. I think it's just too round. That is wrong. Need to get some good reference for like this angle of the ear, because this isn't correct at all. I think we're getting to the point now where, because the lightness is mostly there, we can probably do the UVs soon. I'm going to go pretty high on the UDIM cap. Well, I'm going to use Mari, and because I've got non-commercial Mari, I'm limited to 6 UDIMs, which isn't ideal, but it's enough. You know, for a head, 6 UDIMs is more than you need. I'll probably do 3 UDIMs. The only reason I'm even going that high is because I really want to do some quite high res displacement stuff. something going on with the silhouette here, which I don't really like. There it was. Right, I'm going to end the stream at 11:45, which is in 7 minutes. So if anyone has any questions, let me know. If not, then in 7 minutes the stream will be ending. I think we've made some pretty decent progress for one stream, so. Let's soften out this section a bit. We need to figure out this section of nose as well, because it's not correct. And the eyes from this angle still don't feel right. I think it's the bumpiness of them. Although the eye position itself is wrong, so that will change quite a lot. Thanks, man. guess we're heading out now. Have a good night. Yeah, you too, mate. I mean, the stream's ending in 2 minutes anyway, so don't worry, you're not going to miss anything. But yeah, have a good night. I'll see you guys again on Thursday. It's the next day I'm doing this. I don't think I'll be doing one tomorrow. There we go. Right, I'll save this, and I'm going to call that the stream. Yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If not, then cool. I guess you won't come back. If you have enjoyed it, great. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Bye.